At 5, did the Diamondbacks try to pull a fast one over the Rockies during last night's wildcard game? The investigation involving one of their coaches.
The DACA deadline is here, and tonight 5 Colorado Dreamers are in Washington making an argument for their rights.
Local criminals have figured out a new way to break into your car faster than ever before. But first, in a surprise move, the NRA is calling for a review of bump fire stocks after the mass shooting in Las Vegas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Ann Trujillo. Thanks for joining us. Those bump stocks allow semi-automatic guns to fire nearly as many rounds as a fully automatic one. The NRA typically opposes any regulation of firearms.
Meanwhile, federal investigators are looking into the possibility that the gunman planned more attacks, including a car bombing.
And one big question still out there, did he have help? Right now, police say they're not convinced he acted alone, but they are still trying to figure out a motive.
Usually there's a tall tale sign associated with these types of actions, reclusive, a plethora of things associated with this mindset, and we have not found that yet.
And new information out today suggests the shooter might have researched other locations prior to the attack.
A person with his name booked a room at Chicago's Blackstone Hotel during the Lollapalooza Music Festival, and that hotel is right across the street from the festival.
You go to these festivals and everybody's having fun, having a good time, listening to music, and then suddenly to hear about this, it scares you.
Again, police have not confirmed if that person is the same one who carried out the attack in Las Vegas. According to hotel records, that person never checked in.
And of course, we will follow all developments in this case. And when we're not on the air, you can find the latest on thedenverchannel.com. Well, did the Diamondbacks try to pull a Red Sox-style scheme during last night's game against the Rockies?
One of Arizona's assistant coaches was caught wearing an electronic watch in the dugout. And Denver7 sports director Lionel Bienvenu is joining us live from our newsroom. So, Lionel, what's going on here?
Well, and since the Red Sox were caught stealing signs from the Yankees via an electronic watch, you can't wear one. It's illegal in the dugout. Well, during the game, Ariel Prieto apparently didn't get the memo. Denver7's Troy Rankins confirmed through a source at Major League Baseball they are looking into why the D-backs coach was wearing an Apple Watch in the dugout during last night's wildcard game. Now you can see Prieto right there. He's got the black jacket on. That's video from the game. And there's the illegal watch, the Apple Watch. The D-backs released a statement today saying it was a simple oversight and honest mistake, and the watch was not used in any way related to the game. The Rockies, we reached out to them. They have not commented on this and will have no effect on the outcome of the game. Arizona won 11-8, knocking the Rockies out of Rocktober after one game. Now, the D-backs could be fined or lose some draft picks, but the scoreboard is not going to change. Coming up on Sports Extra at 6 p.m., we'll hear from Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon about where the Rockies are headed in the future. Guys?
All right. Thanks, Lionel.
Thank you, Lionel. It's an old crime with a new twist.
People in Castle Rock are stealing cars, but using a team to get away faster.
Denver7's Thomas Hoppo talked with people in the area about what they're doing to be more vigilant.
It's a bigger town now.
People are going in and taking advantage.
Castle Rock is what some may call a safe haven.
We're lucky enough to where we have the neighborhood card watch. We look out for each other.
But recently, something has happened to this town to make it more cautious.
We've heard of things like cars being broke into.
Recently, there's been more car burglaries than in the past.
We found this Facebook post claiming the same thing. However, the post says the suspects are using a 1-2-3 hit method. Basically how it works, one person goes to a car and opens it up. The second person goes and grabs whatever he can and basically places it for somebody to go and pick it up. The third person picks it up. See ya. The Castle Rock Police Department says this method is unusual for the area.
I wouldn't say that it is a pattern of activity. It's something that we're looking into as it relates to this last rash of car break-ins.
But here's how police say suspects are getting into these cars.
People are leaving their cars unlocked.
Yep.
Bad guys are looking for crimes of opportunity.
While Castle Rock investigates these burglaries, they want to remind everyone to protect themselves from being a victim.
Oftentimes they're the most common sense approaches. Locking your car doors.
Thomas Hoppo, Denver7.
Denver police and fire are looking into thefts at one of the fire stations. Overnight, somebody noticed 2 helmets and 2 ID cards missing from Station 15 on Harrison Street. And they tell us they're not sure when they went missing, but it would have been over the past couple of days.
Campus police at CU Boulder are stepping up patrols after a woman says a man was following her across campus early this morning. She kept taking different routes, but he stayed close behind until she found a police officer, and he ran off. The man accused of killing Ashley Doolittle will spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge sentenced Tanner Flores today to life in prison without parole for the death of Doolittle, a former rodeo queen. A court found him guilty yesterday for shooting and killing Doolittle in his pickup truck last summer. Flores repeatedly said during the trial that he did not plan on killing her. He just acted impulsively, he said, after the two had broken up.
We have a message for Donald Trump. The dreamers are here. We are here to stay.
Tensions are running high tonight as the deadline arrives for unauthorized immigrants to renew their immigration status as part of the DACA program. And never in their wildest dreams did 5 Colorado dreamers think that one day they would be in Washington trying to influence legislation. But it's become a matter of urgency for those trying to live out their dreams. Denver7's Lance Hernandez talked to 2 dreamers today about these efforts. Lance?
Shannon, they lived in the shadows as kids because their parents came here without documents. And for most, this is the only home they've known. The last few months have been anxious time, not knowing what lies ahead. This week, they reached out for certainty.
If there's no permanent solution for DACA, we are effectively relegated back into living in the shadows.
Marco Dorado and Marissa Molina are 2 of the 5 Colorado dreamers who went to Washington, courtesy of Forward Us, to push for passage of the DREAM Act. They're optimistic that their work will bear fruit. Dorado, now a business operations manager at the Latino Leadership Institute, says before DACA, there was no path forward.
So once deferred action was announced, it's kind of like the trajectory of my life changed completely. I was able to get a driver's license. I was able to graduate from college and get a job where I was using my degree.
It's the same for Marissa Molina, who, because of her status, wasn't able to attend her grandfather's funeral, worried that if she left this country, she wouldn't be allowed back in.
He had been next to me in the most important moments of my life. And in that last moment of his life, I wasn't there for him.
Molina is now a teacher at the Denver School of Science and Technology. She says many of her students have the same status she does. In early September, they asked, what happens to them?
I didn't have an answer. And I can go back confidently to Colorado and say, we are working on a solution. We are working to make sure that you can live out your dreams in the same way that I've been able to live out mine.
Now, there are reports that the White House plans to ask for hardline immigration cuts in exchange for supporting a fix on the DACA program. Democrats are not happy, neither are some Republicans. Without a congressional fix, dreamers whose DACA status expires on or after March 6th will begin losing their status at the rate of $1,400 a day. I'm Lance Hernandez.
Thank you, Lance. Denver City Council is asking Mayor Hancock to add more money for 2 projects, one of which is the new Immigrant Legal Defense Fund. Hancock outlined the fund in an executive order back in August. He wants that fund to be primarily made up of private donations. And Council's big request? $2.5 million to fix and build sidewalks. That's in addition to a bond issue for sidewalk improvements that Denver voters will get to decide on in November.
Colorado Senator Cory Gardner is heading to Puerto Rico this weekend. He's going with a group of lawmakers, defense and homeland security officials to survey hurricane damage.
Meanwhile, thousands have been leaving Puerto Rico, choosing to rebuild their lives elsewhere in the U.S., many going to Miami. For those who are staying on the island, supplies are now being distributed, although at last check, only half the island had access to drinking water, and the majority still had no electricity. And we're keeping an eye on Central America right now, where Tropical Storm Nate is churning near Honduras. Forecasters expect it to strengthen into a hurricane over the weekend, potentially striking the U.S. Gulf Coast.
We still have almost 2 more months of hurricane season.
That's true. That's true. Now, this one will probably move too quickly to become a major hurricane, but at least maybe a Category 1 to close to 2 when it strikes probably somewhere on Mobile, Alabama on Sunday.
Yeah, not
So
gonna
frustrating.
Be good. No, it is. Now, around here, our radar's a little active. There are some scattered showers and storms that have popped up just in the last couple of hours. On the south side of the metro area, maybe getting a little thunder and lightning right now from just south of Highlands Ranch over toward the Castle Pines area and extending up through Centennial and over toward the Southlands Mall area. These are not going to be really strong, but this is what it looks like currently on our view from the camera just east of DIA. The evening forecast, scattered showers around, and the temperatures are going to cool down into the mid-50s by 9 o'clock. We have a pretty good-looking weekend forecast, but I have snow in the 7-day forecast. I'll share that with you in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Mike. And actually, the first few avalanches of the season have been reported. Aspen, Vail, Loveland Pass, and the Swatch Range have all seen avalanches in the past few days. The latest was on Blue Peak. That's at 13,500 feet. There was up to 2 feet of snow on the ground in those areas.
Are there abusive and unconstitutional practices going on inside our state courts? Well, a new report from the ACLU says yes. It highlights one court in particular, the Alamosa Municipal Court, but says some judges within the entire system have been ignoring constitutional standards and punishing defendants for their poverty. The court system has not yet responded to this report. All city services are working today in Inglewood after a cyber attack took out the city's network earlier this week. We're told it was some sort of ransomware virus, and no word yet on the scope of the damage.
Well, some Colorado lawmakers are going the extra mile to urge Amazon to build its second headquarters here in Colorado. Now, last month, the company said it would spend about $5 billion on this new location and bring 50,000 jobs. But is this really the best thing for us? Tonight at 6, we're going to take a closer look at Seattle, where the current headquarters is, to see how Amazon has really impacted that city.
More Denver renters are turning into neighbors. We'll tell you why that's happening here.
Ground is broken on a new outlet mall in Thornton.
Plus, is the Great American Beer Fest really worth it? What some of the brewers who choose not to participate are saying.